Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your TCC podcast for all things DFFOO. We are so glad you're joining us for episode number 70, recorded September 26, 2019. I am your host, Mark, and I am joined by my co-host first. His name is Mino Spellgood. How are you doing, Mino?
I'm here, Mark. Let's see if it gets better as we go.
And I'm also joined by my co-host, Kreese, aka Zarink. How are you?
I'm in better control of my faculties than Mino is, it seems.
That is excellent. And we are joined by a great host of friends of the show and content creators and Square Enix employees. So we are all so grateful for all of us who are joining us live on Twitch. You can do that every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, 1 a.m. Friday morning UTC for the show recording. And of course, if you are joining us later on Twitch watching, or if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're listening to us over any of your favorite podcast apps, welcome. It's great to have you with us. If you want to get connected to our community during the week, tccpodcast.com has all of our social media links to our Discord, and all that jazz. Well, it is September, and so thank you for all of our Twitch subs. Thank you for all of those who have gifted a sub, like Shara just gifted a sub to to Square Enix Joshua. So that was very nice before the show started. We also... not only do we have beautiful icons and backgrounds developed by Jin Lee, but Jin Lee also created our first emote for Twitch, our first official emote. So the podcast Moogle is an emote that you have access to. Is it just Twitch subs, or does everyone have access to the podcast Moogle? I'm not sure how that works.
You have to be a sub to the channel.
Oh, okay. So if you are a sub to the channel, you have access to the wonderful podcast Moogle. So that's a good reason to send that sub. It's a wonderful good reason to use your Twitch Prime sub from Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime account, you get one free sub a month. Hey, choose us. Why not? It does help with some of the costs of the show, which do exist, by the way. And so we appreciate all of your help and all of your support. But thank you, all of you who are joining. Speaking of Shara, I wanted to share something from him from the official DFFOO Reddit, who is again going to be partnering with the Choka Bros, which is a collaboration between the following subreddits: Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XI, Brave Exvius, Mobius, Record Keeper, DFFOO, Dissidia, 15 and 7 remake, and they have been working together with Extra Life to do a donation fundraiser for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Last year, they worked with Extra Life and raised over $4,000, so they're going to do that again. I believe that's going to be November 2nd. Confirm that for me. But that's going to be November 2nd. There is information on the official Reddit. Dissidia FFOO is the name of the subreddit. That is the official Reddit. Go on that. Check that information out. It is a pinned message by Shara himself, Shara89. Lots of different ways.
I just shared a link to the page in chat. So if you are listening to us live, you can get it there.
Lots of fun ways to participate. Cher is going to be streaming a marathon. Going to have a lot of guests on, including our own Mino Spellgood. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So go enjoy that. Also donate. I can tell you, as someone who has a child with special needs who ends up in the hospital on a regular basis, the work that the children's hospitals do is invaluable. So being able to raise money for not just children and doctors and research, but to help parents. Thankfully, my family is very blessed, and we are able to afford those things. But every time I'm in the hospital, I see plenty of parents who cannot stay there by their child's bedside because they're working 2 and 3 jobs just to pay the medical bills. So really do appreciate the wonderful community that's raised money for that, and encourage you to do that this year as well. So, and maybe TCC will throw in a few bucks there as well on your behalf. So, All right. Well, let's talk about some news. We had just a terrible experience. I know Joshua's here listening. It was trying for us Apple users. The 8 hours yesterday that I was unable to play the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. I mean, I was working anyway, so I really shouldn't have been playing. But you want, as soon as the maintenance goes, you want to jump in. But because there was a little issue, the Apple Store didn't update right away, and so we had to wait a little bit longer than the Android users. Thankfully, it's usually the other way around. And for our inconvenience, we did get 300 gems. So thank you. We will
Wait, Mark, are you saying that Josh made it so you were more productive yesterday?
Yeah, I have been very productive this week. So thank you.
Oh, just to make it clear, in case people don't understand the joke, Josh has no control over the Apple updates or when the servers go live. People, just to make sure, if you're listening, but also, it was a significant amount more than 8 hours, right? Because I think it lifted sometime in the afternoon West Coast. It was over 12 hours, sure, for Apple.
I don't think Josh or anyone at Square had anything to do with that. Very
truthfully.
Yeah. It has to do with the Apple Store. So
significant down.
Yeah, it has to do with the Apple Store and how they process their apps. They put them through a little bit more scrutiny than the other stores is what I've heard in the past. So
yeah,
but all is forgiven as long as we get apology gems, right?
Hey, we also are getting 3,000 gems for the stream rewards, which we're talking about soon.
Yes, I did not include that because we have not gotten them, but we are getting a whole bunch of rewards from our Square Enix mobile stream, which we will talk about in just a minute. After that maintenance, of course, we got a whole bunch of things, which we're going to talk about today, but the GIL requirement for iDojas was adjusted. So our friend Red Kane from Discord had said last month or a few weeks ago that they had noticed that in Japan, the cost of GIL to upgrade your artifacts was actually cheaper than in global. Well, now that is copacetic. Our cost is down, and so it is cheaper to do artifacts. Is that correct? Is that what I'm understanding, gentlemen?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly. I haven't done the math myself, but fusing iDoja artifacts is now substantially cheaper than it was before. So if you continue fusing like crazy, you probably will not see your guild drop as hard as it was before. Note that we are currently out of a 2x cycle quest period, but I think we're getting another one in a week or two, so keep that in mind if you need to farm more gil.
We are getting double Cycle Quest rewards on October 10th with everything else. That's going to be a busy week, but we'll get to that later. There's also an error in your in-game calendar, that wonderful in-game calendar that we get every month. We're very grateful for that. Under Awakening Wave 3, the crystal colors should be white, not black. So you're going to receive high crystals in white, not in black. So just a mistake, easily fixed. I think that's enough news because the big news is we had a Square Enix mobile stream with Joshua and Rachel. I'm a little concerned about Glacy. I don't know if Rachel, usurped her position. They say Glacy's on vacation. I'm waiting until next month to find out what happened, but fingers crossed that Glacy's okay and she is having a good time. But Joshua and Rachel brought us through a lot of different things. They actually had 10 slides. And so I'm just going to go through them briefly. A couple of them we're going to talk about in great detail. And a few of them we'll talk about just now. So the first slide was about World of Illusion updates, which we're going to talk about here a little bit later. The second slide was about Abyss Beta, which again we're going to talk about tonight. The third event was about the Prompto Event, which we'll talk about tonight because all those things have launched. The fourth slide is the announcement that Ultimate Ramuh is September 30th. So we are going to get our third Ultimate Summon on the 30th of the month. Now, we got our last Shiva on about the same time, basically the 1st of August. So they have been pretty consistent every other month. Anything you guys want to add about Ramuh, we'll talk about it in great detail, obviously, when it happens.
I think the one thing worth mentioning for Ultimate Ramuh is that he's supposed to be a lot easier to farm summon board points for than Shiva was. And also, I believe that Setzer is the only character getting a 70 Awakening with this event.
Yeah, Setzer will get a level 70 Awakening and a new EX weapon. He also gets just a little rework with his C50, right? Is that correct?
Correct. It is changed so that All In now triggers when he uses 2 uses of Freeze Joker instead of using all of his abilities. So it'll be a little easier to trigger and you'll actually be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah. So that is going to make Setzer a lot better, and his EX is actually really cool. So we'll talk more about that. But there's a lot of viable farming units during this ultimate battle, and so it's not nearly as difficult as Shiva was. Setzer, Onion Knight, Lena, Aiko, Sid, and Maria are all super synergy, and of course any turn delayer, Noctis, Kistis, Vayne, etc. are going to tear the boss apart. So he does have a little unique mechanic that we'll talk about next week, but other than that, I think it's going to be a little bit nicer. You just have to remember every time you get a new character, now we have to go through 3 summon boards.
Don't remind me. I still need to finish selfie summon boards, and I need to work on Promptos a bit before Ramuh arrives.
Then we had a couple kind of upcoming event slides, so I'll go through these 2 slides, 5 and 6. Gilgamesh LC is the 3rd. Alphinaud Event is the 7th. Relm LC is the 18th. Aphmau Event is the 21st, and Leon LC is the 29th. So next month, we will have 3 Lost Chapters, 2 new character events, 3 if you consider Prompto in this same schedule. That would be 3 and 3. So any comments on that? We're going to talk about maybe that a little bit later, but any kind of initial thoughts about what's coming, any surprises, etc.?
I'm more impressed by the accelerated schedule, but I think we're going to have to get a Rolai on for Leon when he arrives.
We do need to get a Rolai on when Leon comes, because she's been hyping Leon for a long time, and I know she's very excited about his EX, which is rather unique and pretty clutch in certain Chaos battles. So especially if we get the early elemental thing. So if Joshua's still on, give us that, and we'll all pull for Leon. and love him for so long. The 7th slide was about a Portal app campaign, which is going to be running through the entire month of October. That's where you log on to your Portal app. Let me see if I can pull up my Portal app here. See, I have the Portal app. And you log on and you do various things every day on your Portal app. And we, as a community, get points, and then we get free stuff. So it's free stuff. The Portal app's actually pretty cool. It has a lot of news. You can play Triple Triad. I have Final Fantasy 1 on there, so you can play Final Fantasy 1 and a couple of them right there on that app as well. So it is kind of a neat app, but you can go on there and help the community get free stuff. The next slide was the announcement of the Autumn Festival, and there's going to be 2 different Autumn Festival events, and these are going to be paired with trick-or-treat co-ops. We had that last year. We had these special trick-or-treat co-ops where you'd get a trick or a treat, and that would be the magic pot boss that you had to either hit with a brave attack or an HP attack to get the reward. So you guys expecting any surprises during the Autumn Festivals, or just kind of just another event, more co-ops?
I'm hoping it's as easy as it was last year. All I remember last year was I had a blast with it because it was nice.
I think we got Locke 35 CP with it.
Yeah. I'm not expecting any like surprise releases, but I could definitely use content that we can like roll through in an hour at this point. And it looks like it's overlapping with 2 other co-ops right now. And it's something good to have for new players because we've been getting a lot of complaints by new players from all the veteran aim
We
stuff.
have something we have to say. Josh is
Oh yeah.
asking what we think about the or question mark that's on that slide. And my comment to Josh is, if that is not a surprise Kefka, I'm going to be disappointed.
Might be a trick or treat or I mean, what are the other options between trick or treat? Like
Getting A.
Can it be
Final
worse than a
final
trick?
wave might be a trick. I'm looking at the slide right now. We do have all the slides up on our Discord under GL Square Enix Stream Slides. And thank you,
I'm hoping
Quetch,
it's
for all that work.
It's trick or treat or emergency Apple maintenance again. So so we'll see. I mean, with the rate things are going.
Trick or treat or well, I guess he's coaxing us into a surprise. So it better not be disappointing.
Harriet 29 says trick or treat or Dark Bahamut Cosmos again for the final wave.
Two Dark Bahamut. just you don't even get to go. They just total party kill. That's the surprise. That'd be funny. Oh, I'd like that. That is egg on your face. Just death. Just death. Oh goodness. Interesting. Something we weren't expecting, but the ninth slide was one that was packed. We're going to be getting a Start Dash campaign on the 10th, along with many other things. This is going to come with a triple EX banner with kind of targeted towards new players, so that when a new player starts the game, they're going to have this for 7 days. All of us who have been playing, as soon as we log on after the 10th, it's going to be there for 7 days, and then it will disappear. So this triple EX banner is going to be Squall, Cloud, and Lightning, all of their gear, and you are guaranteed, how does it say it? No off-banner 5-star. So you will get a Cloud weapon, a Lightning weapon, or a Squall weapon when you do a pull. Everyone will get a first multi-draw free. So you will get one multi-pull for free. Everybody will. And again, this is something that's going to exist for new players every time someone starts the game. So thank you, Raw Life, for the subscription. Thank you. But yeah, so every time somebody starts the game, you have a friend that starts, they're going to be able to get Squall, Lightning, or Cloud EX for the first week that they play. And of course, you know, we know going into Chaos, Cloud's going to reign for quite some time again. Squall's going to get an EX Plus. Lightning, I think, has her EX Plus as well, right?
Yeah, they're all good. I mean,
Yeah.
these three characters have always been amazing every time there's a tuning pass.
Yeah. So,
every time they get a new buffs at all. So, I mean, this is perfect for new players. Although the only other character missing is Warrior of Light, who's always good
right.
on tuning pass. But these three are solid. Oh, I mean, I'm sure if you're just starting the game as a Final Fantasy fan, especially a newer Final Fantasy fan, these are way more recognizable characters.
Yeah, no, I think it's, you know, I think it's great. I think the one thing that has been missing, as we've talked about, is something like this for new players, because depending on when you start the game, you may have some great banners to pull on, or you may not. This is going to be consistently a decent banner for you to pull on, at least for the next few months, and maybe 6 months from now they'll, you know, update it so it's a different banner with some different characters. But as of the next several months, this is going to be a great banner for new people. And I'm looking for a free EX draw, and I might end up with Lightning. That would be a nice surprise as well. Also on that banner is the mention of the EX Token Shop Exchange. So the EX Power Token Exchange, you know, we tend to call it the Weapon Shop. It's actually called the Power Token Shop, where you exchange your power tokens for weapons. There's going to be one for EX weapons. Now, we assume that's going to be the same that the Japan community got originally, which is the 15 protagonist. We don't know that for sure. It may be different, but it will be EXs. You're going to have to, I believe, Joshua said on air, you're basically going to need to log in for 10 days from the October 10th to get all the tokens that you need to exchange for one EX. So clear limited time event missions for EX power tokens, then exchange for a featured EX weapon of your choice. So this is the EX shop we've been talking about. we're excited about it. Hopefully you've thought about, which one can I use, or which person is going to help me the best. And you'll have a few days before you're able to get all of those, so we'll be able to talk about it in great length.
I'm sure after it drops, we'll all have our opinions on who will be the most useful EX weapons to buy, who will be the most immediately useful, or who is the most useful right now.
Yeah.
And to add on, I believe Josh said that the tokens are going to be dealt out in those pseudo dailies that we have for the co-ops. So you could wait till, say, October 20th and just get them all in one sitting too. So that's always an option. You don't have to do 10 logins.
Yeah, it's going to be open from October 10th till November 7th. So that's going to be there. And during that time, we're also going to have a limited time campaign, daily missions for crystals and power orbs, Cycle Quest rewards time 2, and World of Illusions Carbuncle's treasure. That's going to be that campaign that goes along with that. So as you're going to see, the 10th of October is going to be a very, very busy day, as we're going to have Start Dash campaign with a triple EX banner and a free multipull, the start of the Power Token Exchange, the EX Power Token Exchange, limited time campaign, and wait, even more, on the 10th of October, and going to our last slide, we're going to get the story chapter, the Knoll story chapter, which is Arc 2, Chapter 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Will of the Hunters.
Will of the Hunters, Arc 2, Chapter 5. We are going to get a free multipull on this. And then we're also going to have a raid that goes hand in hand with the Crystal Awakening wave. And we're going to get a free multipull on that. So we're looking at 3 free multipulls and a free EX weapon in the month of October. Going hand in hand with that
and also Locke's events coming back temporarily, so you can recruit him if you missed, because he is featured in the story chapter.
So
right, nice bonus. Because in JP, when this happened, you couldn't. They didn't have that quality of life where if you pull a character weapon, you automatically get that character. They didn't implement that till the 2nd anniversary. So this was a necessity because Locke was as an oddity being featured before his LC came back. Right, in a story chapter, so they needed the free event to let you actually get Locke, since his EX and his rework were tied to the story, which is a very odd decision at the time.
Yeah, and we're not going to get Locke EX for a couple months, 2-3 months now, so you will be able to replay the Locke event. Now that only goes up to difficulty 50, so it was a very early event.
What they did is they just closed off the co-ops and the EX. Okay, cannot repeat them. You just do the missions that actually give the free weapon and armor rewards, basically.
So we will have a lot of things to talk about the week of the 10th. And I think that will launch one night before we stream, correct?
Yes, we'll have 24 hours to mess with it before we stream.
We'll have 24 hours to get all of that stuff taken care of so we can talk to you about it. But I'm looking forward to all those free multipulls. I don't know about you guys. 3, correct? 3 free multipulls. Very exciting indeed. So, yeah. All right. Well, we're going to, from that fun stream, get 20 tickets, 10 armor tokens, and 3,000 gems, because they did bravely take on the Cosmos co-op, and they must have defeated it, right? I had to go pick up the kids.
They did defeat it.
So yeah, so that was pretty exciting.
Josh was very scared as he did it, but he was able to lead the victory.
That's all that matters. Well, thank you to our Square Enix team for the work that they do with those mobile streams. I think that's a great way to engage the community and also let us know what's going on, and we appreciate that. So, moving on to the things that have happened since then, which are many. The first is the World of Illusion update. So we said last week that the 2 different World of Illusion quests where you can go in and get crystals for different idogas and idogas, those have been replaced with a new one. Basically one quest that has 4 different nodes, And there's a silver node for power orbs, a silver node for guard orbs, a gold node where you can get 5 gold tokens and 15 silver tokens, and a gold node that costs 40 stamina with a behemoth that has 10 gold tokens and 30 silver tokens per complete, and you need 10 of each token to exchange for either your silver 4-star or gold 5-star Idojas. We were told, who told us that? Was it Jake? Before the show, that the boss ending animation, where, you know, when you kill the boss, they kind of like blow up and it takes a few seconds, that has been eliminated in that final node in the new World of Illusion. So Radiant Artifact, World of Illusion. So it's actually fairly quick to beat that over and over and over again. You can go through a lot of stamina pots, especially if you're using a book. Good news is we got 1,000 silver and 1,000 gold tokens for free, which is 100 Idojas and 100 Idojas of your choice. So you can choose, there's a shop now under the token shop, and you can choose those for whoever you want. You're still working on your Sarah artifacts. You're still working on your Yuna artifacts. You just like throwing Idojas down the toilet. I'm still working on my Yuna ones.
I'm still working on Pain.
Yeah, my Pain, Noctis, and Warrior of Light are still not up to snuff, but what can you do? So this, I'm trying to read what you wrote here. Oh, yes. Thank you for that. I'm looking at our outline here. This replaced event-based World of Illusion stages. So you will notice if you go to World of Illusion, there is no Radiant Artifacts for Prompto's event with the 3 characters from Prompto. So this new stage, which is just called Radiant Artifact Tokens, has replaced any further stages. What you will notice is there's now time-limited missions to purchase Idojas, and there is bonus gems throughout the regular missions. So we still get the same amount of gems that we would have gotten with the World of Illusion. They're just built into the event now instead of having a separate event. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I would have not been unhappy either way, but I'm more than happy just to grind this one thing over and over again, and it does give me something to do every day, regardless, with my stamina.
And I'm not going to lie, this World of Illusion is going to incentivize me heavily to actually farm for Idojas outside of the co-op. I have relied almost exclusively on co-op farming for the Idojas that I've collected, and now that there's an option where I can actually pick the Idojas I want, I am definitely going to be spending potions on that. Well, after we get past Ramuh, I don't think I'm going to get to it beforehand.
Oh, agreed. I like this option as an alternative to co-op farming because, holy crap! I'll be one of the discussions we were having in the Discord was that because the accelerated pace, there's so many overlapping co-ops, and to do them effectively, people have to spread out their bells really tightly, and they're not able to just farm one co-op all the time. They need to cover a bunch. So this is a solution to that, I believe, which is welcome. I haven't personally done it yet myself, but I think one of our content creators said that it's a real stamina drain. I think they said the fight can be less than a minute if you do it manually. Costs them like 7 potions to run one book efficiently.
I'll shout out Eamon for this. He's been running Rydia solo for this to clear the stages, and he says he can get a lot of Idojas in a single 30-minute book, but he also burns a lot of stamina potions in the process.
Oh, I'm sure.
141 Idojas in a single session with Rydia is what he said in chat.
Yeah. Ooh, that's.
Or you can just do 5 a day. You don't have to unlock this like the other ones where you have to, unlock it.
Oh yeah.
So you can just do, you can just use your stamina. Run it 5 times. There's your 5 dailies, and go about your business.
How many do you get for just 5 runs, no book?
5 runs, no books would be 150 silver and 50 gold. So
5 Idojas.
5 Idojas.
Ugh, that sucks.
Yeah, 15 other ones. But it is what it is. Yeah.
It's definitely a useful source that, if you consider what the alternative was, which was farming a 60 stamina unlocked illusion stage that had a chance of dropping the specific idojas you wanted, this is much, much, much more reasonable.
Yeah, and Strafe is telling me it's like another 5 bells, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Another 5 bells with no. Actually, you know what? That works for me because sometimes a lot of these co-ops are short enough that I'll finish the 5 bell runs with 15, 10 minutes to spare.
Exactly.
And then I could probably, yeah, I could probably finish up here. So yeah, you know what? I take it back. It's a very, very nice addition. And
Yeah, if you pop a
more,
2-time or 3-time book, half-an-hour book, you can do your 5 co-ops and run this
yeah,
5 times without doing much, you know.
I also
more
think this is
options.
an amazing thing because you can go back and collect idojas for characters you might have
Exactly.
missed their events for. For
Yes, yeah,
example, if you're one of those people who didn't farm Beatrix hard, her idojas are in the shop. You can go
Yeah.
get them if you want.
Or if you're pulling on Cloud Lightning Squall banner and you just started playing the game, you have a way to get their artifacts where you may not have before, or you did, but it was just a lot harder, a lot more arduous.
yeah. More options
Jake
is
is
always.
asking in chat if the co-ops drop the tokens too, and no, they continue to drop idogas and idojas for the featured characters.
Yeah, Inkwelder is saying that Setzer with his rework is going to be really efficient to farm that. And Amons is saying Kistis never got idojas until now. So yeah, you can use Kistis and Rosa. You can actually try to get a little bit better passes for characters like that maybe didn't get them the first time around. So I'll have to look. I think my Kistis artifacts are pretty good, but hey, you never know. All right, moving on. We got a lot more stuff to talk about. The next one is Abyss Beta Strata 10. So with this is a new format. So before, we've had various different types of Abyss, but all very similar until this point. Strata 10 opens with basically 2 silver nodes and then 2 dungeons that you have to unlock. One dungeon is 3 nodes where you have to use a green character, a yellow character, and a dagger. But it does lock them, into perfect. So if you use 3 characters and get all the missions, it locks them just like a heretic, and you have to do all 3 to unlock kind of your next step on the first level of the Stratum 10. But each node is that same requirement. So that one is green, yellow, and dagger. The other one is white. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. White staff, and sword. Which means... Oh no, it's not. It's that's the main one. The other one is blue, red, and gun. So that means you need to have 3 different gun users, 3 different blue crystal users.
I had used Laguna and Balthier for this.
I used Laguna, Vincent, and Zaz. Balthier is a great choice as well. And likewise, dagger users was tough for me. I don't know about you guys, but finding 3 dagger users to use, that was much harder than the gun users, which of course weren't super great for me.
I think I used Thancred, Lillicet, and Zidane as my dagger users.
Those are the exact same 3 that I used. Zidane, Thancred, and Lillicet. So I think some people are probably struggling with that. You can tell us in chat, any of you struggling with that because you didn't have enough dagger users or enough gun users. The colors aren't so tough, but I think dagger and gun maybe.
The daggers, as luckily for the dagger user ones, since they're single stage boss fights, you can just bring a deadweight dagger user and then swap them for a friend unit immediately and try to kill the boss before then, and that helps quite a bit.
Yeah, they're not the most difficult, but it does again encourage you to have kind of a deep bench. Now, once you do those 2, it unlocks 4 nodes these are all the same, correct? I believe these are all the same.
Staff, yellow, white, I think.
Yes, I'm just double checking.
Am I wrong about that?
Yes, they are staff, yellow, or no, white staff, sword.
Yeah, you're right. White staff, sword.
So you have to have 4 teams that are white staff and a sword. My teams were Warrior of Light, Vincent Papalamo, Terra, Sarah Garnet, Noctis, Peasel, Vanille, Yuna, Bartz, Lena. So you got to have a white, you got to have a sword, and you got to have a staff. Obviously, some of those overlap. So that may, again, like Chris said, these are difficulty 100, so they're not pushovers, but some of our characters, we're going to be able to do all those, so you might be able to carry a deadweight staff user. And once you get perfect on all of those, that unlocks the Cosmos level 150 fight, where you have to fight 4 waves. The first one is 2 chimeras, the heretic chimeras. The second one is heretic booster machines. The third one is 2 heretic savage drakes. Those are the Lenaboss. And the fourth one is 2 heretic crimson lizards. And where did we fight those first? Which event? You remember where the heretic lizards came from? Anybody
was it Palom's event?
Palom, maybe? Yeah, that sounds right, because they're weak to ice. Yeah, they are weak to ice.
I think it was
lightning.
Palom or Vanille.
Yep,
Lizard came from one of them.
Everybody's saying
Everyone's saying Palom.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, just squeeze in. People are talking about how it's hard to get multiple characters with all these requirements. But again, just like the old stratums of Abyss, taking into consideration all the characters we're getting this month, they all fulfill the requirement. You need staff users. You got Aerith coming out. You got 2 daggers coming. You got Lion and Locke, who are resurfacing with reworks and EXs. You've got Lion for white crystals. For swords, you've got Null, Leon as well. All the LC characters coming back and all the story characters fulfill all these requirements. So it's on purpose, guys. Like, if you don't have a deep enough roster, they're trying to get people to pull this month. So
also, another thing to mention is that they've done away with the time-limited rewards for this stratum. So nothing is tied to a time-limited reward. The power tokens, I think, are just upon clear now.
Yeah, you get the power tokens when you beat the Cosmos, correct.
Oh, darn.
So
Ink
there's no rush to get through it.
Yeah.
Ink is saying Null's unique weapon. Never mind. Scratch that.
Weapon.
I forgot who's coming on this Awakening. Oh, well.
Awakening
it's
would
Sarah,
be
Aerith,
Sarah,
Locke,
Ace.
Ace, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Oh, and Noctis is coming back on that story banner as well, right? I believe.
I mean, his banner's still up.
Yeah, and it's coming back again, so I guess Noctis there for your sword.
And his EX weapon will be in the token exchange if you did not get it on his last chapter.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Gilgamesh is actually great sword, so he will not count for this, other than the green crystal requirement.
I was able to take this Cosmos on using Yuna, Warrior of Light, and Noctis. Obviously, 2 of those people are very powerful. I brought Aerolai's friends twins to take out the Chimeras because they're resistant to Noctis and Warrior of Light, although both of them batteries, so who cares? And everything else was pretty straightforward. The booster machines are double resistant to magic. The drakes are not resistant to anything. And the lizards are resistant to fire but weak to thunder, ice, and magic. So, yeah. So it was, obviously using very powerful characters. It was not very tough. But I think some other people are were able to do this one not too hard. So let us know. Again, if you're always struggling with any of this content, you can come on our Discord, and we do have a help channel. I believe the channel is called GL Event Help Strategy. And we got tons of great people on our community who are willing to help. But as Mino and Kreese said, this is going to be here for the rest of the month. There's no time limited rewards. So if you can't beat it now and you're thinking about pulling on some of those characters coming up, you're going to have some much better options. So anything else about Abyss?
Yeah, just keep in mind that these aren't built for difficulty. They're built to test your roster. So don't think about pulling like meta requirement characters. Just try to use this as a reminder to diversify your roster and see what you're short on. Like, are you short on dagger users? Are you short on green crystals? This is a nice reminder where to pad things out. It's not meant to be difficult, so don't try to brute force it. It's just, I guess, extra gems for whenever you increase your roster as a new. Like, if you just started, say you finally pick up your 3rd dagger user, you're like, oh, I can get some extra gems now. That's it. No time requirement. Take your time.
Although if you're a new user, you're probably not at Striatum 10 yet.
Right.
The point is, this is content that's supposed to be around quote unquote permanently. Of course, since it's the beta, it's not going to stay forever, but it's going to be around for a long time. Do not feel pressured to finish it as fast as possible.
Exactly. All right. Well, that brings us to Selfie's Lost Chapter, which we did get a few days ago. And that brings us back Selfie, if you weren't able to get her the first time. She received a level 70. She did not receive a rework, and she received an EX weapon. So, Kreese, if you would tell us about Selfie, please.
Sure. I'm not going to give all the details on Selfie because she has been around for a while, but if you are not familiar with what Selfie does, she is a defensive support who is a lot like Porum in many cases. She provides a lot of party battery, some healing, but she is not offensive. She has almost no Brave Shave potential, so keep that in mind. Her big things, however, is that she gives a huge max Brave boost through her buffs and auras, a pretty massive Int Brave boost, and has a unique mechanic on her EX ability now. A couple quirks. Wall, when she uses Wall and puts that buff on people, she actually gains Brave when people take Brave damage from through the wall, so keep that in mind. She can self-brave herself quite a bit from that. But other than that, she's pretty basic. If you have specific questions about her kit, feel free to ask in the Discord or look at her infographic, which we'll link in a little bit. Her new things, however, are with her 70, she got an additional ability called Ability Recovery. That gives her an additional use of Drain and Wall when it's activated. If you get her Bloomstone and her extension passives for that, she gets access to a party battery and a party heal with using that additional ability, but no additional uses. Her big thing, however, is the EX ability, which is actually a free turn. Its instant turn rate does not add to turn count, provides a small party battery, but it also gives everyone the unique buff called Aura, which increases EX recast rate and a Brave regen. The other thing worth mentioning with Selfie's EX is that if you fully limit break it, she gets access to an HP plus ability, which batteries the party, including herself, for 30% of the HP damage dealt, which means she can dump her Brave while still protecting herself from taking Brave hits, or from getting broken, I mean. And she can use this as an alternative to Drain, and this is actually a better party battery in many cases than Drain. So keep that in mind too. But the major thing is that Selfie does what she did before, she's just a lot better at it. I think if you are familiar with what she did before, her weaknesses are still there. As I said, she has no Brave Shave. You need really strong Brave Shavers to carry her along. She can enable a lot of stronger, newer EX abilities with Aura, I'll mention. So it's less useful when you're bringing along older characters with older EX weapons that might be a little weaker, but it's amazing with characters such as Pain with her EX weapon. Just activating that much more frequently is really awesome. I was able to Luxac her EX, so I've been experimenting with her, and it's nice to have her back in the party and using her and seeing how she works with the newer characters. Any thoughts, Mino?
I mean, so I want to preface it as usual in that right now in the Cosmos era, the difficulty pretty much plateaus like this for the next month or two. So I think any of these pulls is viable if you enjoy the character and the playstyle. For sure. If you're a Selfie fan, go for it. But that being said, I don't think she brings anything too much extra or unique to your roster if you're a veteran player. Aura speeding up EX recharge is a very nice gimmick, but it's only very effective for certain characters, not universally effective, right? For example, say Prompto, who we'll talk about later, he has his EX charged every other turn. Aura is not going to change that too much, for example. But certain characters like Pain or Vayne, or characters that get ability recharges or free uses or consecutive turns on their EXs, I think you get a lot of mileage out of it.
I'm assuming pairing Selfie with characters like Lightning or Jekt will be very effective too. I have not tried pairing Selfie with Lightning yet.
Right.
What
So
about
huh?
looking ahead and pairing Selfie with early Chaos Cloud EX, early Chaos Warrior of Light EX?
I want to say Setzer EX will probably be great because Setzer's
Setzer's
gimmick.
pretty fast though. His EX is pretty fast. Anyway.
Right, but even like with Selfie's kit in general, Setzer's EX lets him battery everyone to
Yeah. It's
whoever has the
ridiculous.
most.
Yeah.
It's like an alternate Ishtola gimmick where he raises everyone's brave to whoever has the most brave right now. So then you've got Selfie who's also batterying and increasing max brave to and brave regen to a ridiculous amount. I think they'd pair very well. But I think from here on out, unless it's an extremely meta character that we'll touch on, um, a lot of these characters are more focused towards building with certain teams. That's true for Selfie. That's going to be true for Prompto, as we'll get into in a little while. Either way, can't go wrong if you like the character. Just know that a lot of these aren't going to be universal carries like Noctis and Warrior of Light moving forward for a little bit.
I also want to mention something, not specifically about Selfie, but about EX weapons that has already started and is going to be more common going forward. If you've noticed, this is now the second character this month that has received an improvement for their base kit through the EX weapon. It happened with Pain. Her EX ability gives her a unique buff that gives her access to an HP plus and a better Brave plus. Selfie's EX, when fully limit broken, gives her access to a strong HP plus, but she needs to have that EX weapon. It has to be limit broken. The same will be true for Setzer. He gains access to a strong HP plus, but his weapon has to be fully limit broken to get it. This will become more and more common, so don't expect to carry a character with a unlimit broken EX weapon and see the full potential of it.
Agreed. I think every EX plus adds a new layer of brave and HP attacks to all the characters.
Except for Zell and Fang.
Yeah, but they don't matter. They don't count. They're not people.
Poor Zell and Fang.
Anything from the actual Lost chapter that we need to address?
The curls that are the boss of Selfie's Lost Chapter like to inflict debuffs. If you bring Lena, if you bring Selfie, you probably will not have many issues with it. Just be careful. They can go into mini and rage modes where they're much more aggressive and can do HP attacks and attack pretty frequently. But again, there's no Cosmos level event, so it should not be too challenging for anyone.
And if it is, you know where to find us on our Discord, and we can help you out there. Yeah, so let's go on to Prompto. We did get a new event. Area Music is asking, are you going to pull for Setzer or Null? We'll talk about that later, not right now. We got a lot of characters to cover before we get to even Setzer. And so Prompto is our newest character, and I have the privilege of talking about his very complicated kit. So, without further ado, Prompto is Final Fantasy XV's BFF and Selfie taking gunslinger, not Selfie the character, Selfie the thing of taking photos of yourself. In DFFOO, Prompto acts as a jack of all trades. He's range DPS. He's a provoker evader, not really a tank, but he can evade attacks and provoke attacks. He's a debuffer and limited party support. He comes to us with his level 70 AA ability, free copy of his 15 and his 35 and EX on the banner. So reviewing his kit based on all of his abilities and all of his passives. His first ability is Star Shell, which batteries the party 200% of his attack. So you want attack on Prompto for 1,000 different reasons if you're artifact grinding. Provokes all enemies for 2 turns and grants Prompto...
One turn. It's one turn lock, yes, 2 turns evasion.
Yes, grants 1 turn lock, 1 turn provoke, 2 turns, 100% evasion. He grants the party 10 turns with a physical attack up, and he has 5 uses of that ability, Star Shell. So that can come pretty clutch from time to time. Unless, of course, if you're doing AoE attacks, his attack will get missed, and the other 2 will take their fair share of the damage. It was adjusted so they will not take more damage because he evaded. So that is nice for Prompto's sake. His second ability, which is much more elaborate, is called Piercer. It's a 3-hit Brave HP attack with some overflow, 120%. Piercer grants him the frame buffed Life of the Party for 8 turns and debuffs the enemy with defense down for 4 turns. Somebody tell me what that is. I didn't get the actual number
I
of
think
that.
it's 3 turns, 4 turns.
Yeah, a few turns. Life of the Party offers an attack buff and a max Brave buff to him and changes his Brave and HP attacks to Brave Plus and HP Plus. Life of the Party also enables a new special feature where if any party member breaks or attacks a broken enemy the turn before Prompto acts, that enemy is afflicted with a special icon that glows not over them but actually on them. And with these stupid goblins, it's like right on their butt. So it's really bad. Called Break Mark. And well, so it's like a blue glowing icon, circle icon.
I just put a link to the image I shared on the Discord server earlier on what the break icon looks like when it's on a target.
So Break Mark is, when that is active, Prompto's Brave and HP attacks become Overkill and Crackshot when targeting the character who has the mark. Overkill is a 2-hit Brave attack that debuffs the enemy with attack down. Crackshot is a 2-hit Brave plus HP attack with overflow that ignores enemy defense. He has 7 uses of this ability, Piercer. It is important to note, we found out before the show, the Brave Plus and HP Plus do not change names when that break mark is active. So it will still say Brave Plus HP Plus, but if you attack with the Brave or HP attack, enemy that has the break mark on it, you will get the little banner that says Overkill or Crackshot, depending on which one you use. So that's not super intuitive, something that you're going to have to pay attention to and know which one does which. Prompto's EX ability with his new weapon is Trigger Happy, and this acts very, very fast. In co-op, it's been 2 turns, and it's already charged. So it is it's just fast, but it does charge rather quickly. Trigger Happy is a 1-hit Brave plus HP attack 10 times, as opposed to a 10
It's
hit.
A lot like Sid's in that regard,
It
actually.
is like Sid's,
he does a similar thing.
So the first Brave attack, it's 1 Brave plus HP, will hit the target that you target, and the next consecutive 9 are random among all the enemies present. So they will hit random
I don't
targets.
think they're truly random. I think they're distributed evenly across the targets.
Are they
but the
distributed
order
evenly?
of which he targets and hits
are random.
enemies is a little shuffled depending on who you start with.
Got it. That also grants Prompto the frame buff King's Buddy for 6 turn. King's Buddy grants Prompto a speed boost and gives the party an aura to attack and brave at 20%, which is nice. Prompto's additional ability is attack speed, which gives him a speed boost and an attack boost for 4 turns. It has 2 uses. My conclusions, not having played with Prompto besides his 15 CP and lots of co-ops. Prompto has a very interesting kit, but he needs a very specific team built around him to make the most of his Break Mark ability. He also benefits from additional auras, frame debuffs, ranged imperil. Sadly, Star Shell and Overkill do not dump Brave, and Piercer has limited overflow. His EX is fun, it's really cool, it's really fast, but it's a little bit unpredictable and not doing huge damage. Break Mark may be difficult to use consistently, and therefore many players may not even see it or may not even realize they're using it during battle. Overall, I think many people in Japan passed on him, and I think probably unless he's one of your favorites, you're probably going to pass on him too. He did get an EX recently, EX Plus in Japan, and on his Lost Chapter banner, he has shared EX with Freya. So his EX Plus and Freya's EX Plus is on that banner, and his EX Plus solves several of the issues he currently has. So you can look forward to that if you want to pull for him now and upgrade him later, or if you're just going to wait for and have him later. I really want to like Prompto, and I think he's really, really cool. And some of his mechanics are really unique, but he is kind of a jack of all trades. Master of None. I think he does synergize well with Noctis and Pain, actually. So I think the three of them would actually be a fairly good team if you are looking to pull for them and you have those two. Of course, I'm not sure that Noctis and Pain right now need a lot of extra help. So, but two Promptos and one Freya is nice too. He does really benefit from an AoE attacker to get that break mark on enemies before he acts. So,
to step in first, as usual, I'll play my role of devil's advocate to argue against Prompto. I think, well, actually, first, as a character, I think just like the game he comes from, FF15, he exists, and that's, that sums up general opinion of it. He's there. He is a character slot, but I think he doesn't add too much. I do appreciate the new attempt for the mechanics, but I think his break mark is a glorified framed debuff, basically. I don't think they needed to make it a unique icon and have... Well, and the activation is nice. There are a lot of people out there saying to build around him by bringing a lot of turn-stealing AoE characters to get the break marks on everyone, but in practice, from what I've seen in co-op, honestly, somebody's getting that break, because more often than not, somebody's going to act for Prompto, and Prompto just has to hit that person. He doesn't necessarily need it on everyone unless you're always planning to have him on uptime, but while you can optimize it, you can really just play on the fly and, do it live, adjust, hit whoever you need to. And apparently the defense pen isn't that big of a deal breaker one way or another. He's still mostly going to act the same. But other than that, I mean, he's just there. He does a lot of things, none of them particularly well. He has Edge's smoke bomb, basically. He has a battery. He has some defense pen. He has some AoE attacks, but I think he's as forgettable as they come. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kreese?
I find it odd that you said you'd play devil's advocate and then agree with me and Mark on our opinions of Prompto.
No, I thought I went a little harsher. I thought Mark was trying to really sell him a bit, saying, oh, Mark is like, oh, I really like Prompto. I think he's cool. I think he does this. And I'm just like, I think he's one of the most passable characters there has been in a long time.
Prompto is an interesting character, but I think he's hurt by the fact that he's so EX dependent. It's on a fast recharge, and it shows. He doesn't have the ability uses to really support his kit otherwise, and he's at bad timing. We just got characters like Noctis, Sync, Pain, Warrior of Light. We're going to be getting Noel soon. I'm going to be pulling for Gilgamesh next week because I'm an idiot. But anyways, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of characters coming out around him and a lot of hyped characters, and that makes Prompto look worse in comparison. He has an interesting niche. It's very few characters get the evasion tank role, and he has the potential to do a lot of damage, especially on bosses that have high defenses. You said that defense ignoring abilities aren't worth it, but it
for
will
now,
be in the future.
Yeah, for now. But okay, so it will be when Chaos comes, but who in their right mind is Prompto Chaos? I'm probably going to get proven wrong in 2 months, but that's my gut feeling.
Amens, thank you for the cheer, or the bits, or what are those? What are those? Yeah, the cheer. He says, Amens is saying, play devil's advocate for Prompto.
Okay, so to argue Prompto's good points?
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. I was gonna say range damage, but you have Noctis, right? The dodge tank gimmick is interesting, but I feel like a lot of enemies recently have AoE, right? So it doesn't really help that much. And hold on. Let me see. I can't think of anything. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm trying to advocate the break mark, but that's very conditional too. Help me out, guys. I can't, You're killing me,
Evasion
Eamon.
tank
You beat
is
me.
interesting, unique. It's it's not unique. It's uncommon. It's pretty rare. Only a couple characters can pull it off successfully, and that makes them special. If you're dealing with bosses that only deal single target HP attacks and they're predictable, you can have Prompto basically absorb them all for you and never take any HP damage. He has pretty good combat longevity thanks to very strong Brave and HP pluses and a very fast recharging EX. So he can do a lot of damage even on turns where some other characters might have burned out. Though that's less than it used to be in the past. We're getting a lot of characters with strong Brave and HP attacks now.
I'm gonna steal this from Ink. He said that the dodge tank gimmick is better because we have that early quality of life change or the buff where when a character evades, it still counts as they're absorbing the attack, So that's something in Prompto's favor. And also, I guess he doesn't have cursed artifacts, so that's a big plus. Yeah.
All the ladies in chat are saying that Prompto is very cute and adorable, and that's worth pulling for.
I guess. Isn't he? To me, he looks like Cloud with a gun. I don't know. It's the same to me. Okay, I'm done. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about Prompto anymore.
Well, Prompto has an event, so we do need to talk about him a little bit. He did come with a costume, so you can get, what did they call this, royal gear or whatever.
Oh, yeah, he has a costume. That's another pro.
Just the same as Noctis. He has his royal garment outfit on, which is very nice. Very, Sgt. Pepper, Lonely Hearts Club Band kind of looking costume that they all get. So very nice for that. So if you want to buy that, you get 9,000 gems and the costume. It does come with a co-op. You fight the two goblins in the co-op. It is a lot of Promptos and Freyas. I've seen a couple selfies.
Whenever we get Steam-based variants of previous bosses, they turn out to be complete jerks. This is not the first time it's happened. It also happened during the Deuce event. While these imps are nowhere near as bad as Deuce's bosses were, they're still obnoxious, and they can do a lot of HP damage if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, they have a couple gimmicks. The one gimmick is they buff each other. They actually give each other regular buffs, and they can switch turns fairly easily. They can come out of break and do HP attacks horribly. I guess they can confuse. I've never seen it actually hit, but they have debuffs, and I believe they have the ability to confuse. Is that correct? Yeah, confuse.
They also buff each other pretty strongly with offensive and defensive buffs. You got to watch out for those.
If you kill one, the other one does get angry with their glaring this way. They can switch actions mid-turn. They have some pretty powerful abilities, as Kreese found out as he went into Cosmos. But with the co-op, it's not so bad. Freya is great for this co-op. Prompto's great for this co-op. Selfie works to help with this co-op. I have not seen any Kings yet, so I don't know how King is performing in this. Anybody? Don't
his
you think
gimmick is out of date? He's not strong anymore.
Don't you think
you will not
costumes,
be using King.
You're not using. Don't you think their costumes kind of look like Sgt. Pepper, Beatles costumes? No, it's just.
I don't see it.
If you painted them all black, then they.
It's before my time.
One thing I will note is that the imps, when they're prepping up their all attack, they will recover from break to do it, and the HP damage they do is 100% to all targets. So be careful on letting them break a target and get a lot of brave from it, because they can surprise kill characters.
The Cosmos, you fight two of these things after 5 waves, and you the middle wave is not particularly challenging. It's avians, ferocious avians. They are weak to ranged. The Sergeant Imps, talking about Sgt. Pepper, the Sergeant Imps do resist magic, so you're probably not going to bring a lot of magic users, including perhaps Selfie, who might not be there with you either. So I brought the meta team of Cosmos, Warrior of Light, Noctis, and Pain, and they were able to. I actually think I got a higher score in Cosmos than I did in the EX battle. I'm not sure how that's possible. Let me look. Yeah.
Aemons is pointing out that Sylphie is not magic. She does 0 magic
Oh,
damage
she
because she
does.
does no brave damage.
Oh yeah, and her brave hit is physical. It's a physical attack. It's not magic,
Correct.
right? Yeah. So yeah.
For this
Sophie's fine.
Cosmos, I used a Sulphy Noctis Pain team.
Yeah.
I did not make the HP requirement on my first go because I was not ready for the AoE attack, and I let my friend Quistis take it and instantly die. So that backfired.
Yeah. Awesome. Lena is a great option for this fight because that avoids their debuffs and, of course, the healing. Freya is probably usable in some respect here with her buffs and her range damage and everything else. Yeah. Lady Sumi is saying bring Freya instant win. So there you go. Lots of different options. The call to arms is going to be up, and you're going to see lots of different things. Porum, Drew saying Porum was great. So, yeah. Selfie Pain Vein for Ink Welder, very good. Amons is saying I used a full magic team of Rosa Porum, and Rydia. So, hey, whatever. I don't know
Just
if he's trolling or joking. Fran, Freya, CSAM. Fran's a good option for this as well. Zidane, Aerolai saying amazing for this Cosmos. So I think this is maybe not the hardest of the Cosmoses we've had. Or we just have enough characters now that we're at the end of Cosmos, so we have a lot more options. So again, if you're having trouble with this, come on Discord and we'll help you out. So, but yeah, not too bad. Certainly not terrible like some of the other things. So that brings us to some host discussion. So Mino, you put a new poll on our Discord under the, I don't know how you have it designated.
Yeah, like Kreese said, second poll, again, very close.
Why don't you tell us what the poll was and how it's turned out?
Oh, right. So there was some discussion that as soon as the stream dropped, or finished, rather, it felt like we had an accelerated pace last month, and it seems to be continuing this month, maybe even slightly faster. We're getting, 3 events, 3 LCs. Another story chapter is a big thing in 3 weeks. 3 weeks from the last one. Then you've got the seasonal events on top of the start dash. It's a lot of stuff. Oh, and the summon board, right? Usually,
and the new Abyss stages.
Oh yeah, and in JP it was always the summon boards came out 1 month and they alternated with story chapters. We're getting both of them within 10 days here, on top of the overlapping co-ops and then the seasonal co-ops. It's a lot. So this accelerated pace is continuing, and basically there's been some concern. I haven't visited the main or the subreddit much this week because I've been a little busy, but at least on our Discord, there's been some concern that this pace is a little fast and people are afraid of burning out, especially the content creators. Because I think a lot of the content creators are saying if this is the new pace, creating content, the infographics, the evals, the call to arms, this is a breakneck speed, almost a second job. But we wanted to ask and get an opinion whether this pace felt too fast for people or just right. And surprisingly, it came close again. Less than 5% difference. The majority is still saying this is a very good pace, but there is a vocal amount of people saying that this is getting slightly overwhelming. Now, I'll voice my opinion first, which is, for me, this is slightly fast, mostly because of the co-ops. Mostly because we have the pseudo dailies for the co-ops, so you have to play them on 5 different days now, unless you want to wait for the 5th day and hammer it all out. And you got several overlapping, and those are the most limited time events, right? Because Abyss is permanent, so no problem. Story chapters are permanent, no problem. LCs are permanent, no problem. I think LCs have a handful of limited time missions. Maybe the story chapters do. I don't quite recall.
Story does not have any time limited events. Lost chapters do have time limited events for the crystals and shards, high shards.
Right. So I'm saying there's there's still more permanent content than time limited events. But for me, I'm sweating the co-ops with the amount of bells we get and how we have to juggle several in a row, as we've said earlier. But I will acknowledge that I play. Sorry, I'm drawing blanks on names again. Another content creator said, I want to say it was Tell of the Tonberry Troop or somebody else said, this is a toilet game. I play it like a toilet game. Most of my playtime comes from being on the toilet or during commutes or while I'm waiting for something else. So it's not a game that I like sit down and make time to play.
Don't play on your
Hmm?
phone on the toilet. Just it's
Yeah.
gross. Right? That's
but basically,
I don't want to be co-oping with you people when you're on the crapper. Come on.
That's the only time I can find time to sit down and co-op, Mark. I don't know what else you want. Or when I'm checking emails in the morning. But basically, this is not a game I put time aside to play. So I play it like a mobile game. So this pace is a little bit faster than I would ideally like. That being said, it's not unmanageable, but it does take up a good amount. It's probably a majority of time because, other games you can set aside. This has timed events. But I will say that I will not advocate for slowing down the pace because then I'm just not the target audience. It's okay if I ever miss a few time limited missions, but for those people who are out there playing this nonstop, the younger kids, the students, other people who can find the time or make this their main game, this is great for them, I think. And I think people are really happy to constantly have things to do. But I will say that if you feel like this pace is too fast for you, I was talking to the Tonberry Troop. We're older guys. I say that as the youngest co-host here. Crease and Mark and all the content creators. We're older guys, into our 30s, 40s, and this is a part-time thing for us. So even if we're not the target audience to keep putting time into this game, that doesn't mean other people can't enjoy this increased pace. And I think it's great for the game. People are more engaged and active than ever. And I don't think it'll continue forever because even if we do keep this increased pace until we catch a JP, we're eventually going to catch a JP, and then it'll slightly slow down. As we're going right now, we're going about 1.5 times faster than JP, maybe even a little faster than that. So, it's not forever. I think it's great for the game. And I do want to say that. Oh, and my real life friend that I always talk about that I play with, he went on vacation for a week and he came back and he's like, I feel like I'm drowning in content. Like, I feel like I'm so behind because there's 2 co-ops to do, a third co-op coming out when Prompto did, which was yesterday. And then the summon boards are dropping this Sunday. He's like, oh, there's so much to do. He feels so behind. So I do see how if you take a break from this game, you can feel like you're falling really, really behind. But that doesn't mean I want to tell Square Enix to slow releases just for me. It's better for everybody that everyone's getting content on. Just keep in mind, if this is fast for you, I do agree, but let everyone else have their fun, right? I mean, Mark, you're a pretty busy guy. How do you feel about this pace?
I'm sorry. I'm just reading chat.
Oh yeah, chat's a lot. Yeah,
they're giving you a hard time. Yeah, Shara just wants to remind you that your body pillow does not count as in real life friend. So.
I gotta catch up on chat while you give your opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, quite honestly, I probably spend more time in the content creating part of the game than I do, or the community part of the game than I do actually playing the game. I do play it every day. That may be 15 minutes. That may be an hour if new content comes out and I have some time to play. I don't, during the week I do work quite a bit. I work 60 to 70 hours a week and I have a family and obviously like to spend time with them. So a lot of a lot of my time is maybe a few minutes in the morning once everybody's settled down and I've done kind of my things, or kind of at night as I'm kind of relaxing a little bit before I go to bed. And then of course, I probably do about the same amount when it comes to producing the show and doing social media for the show, and hanging out on Discord, checking Discord here and there. So, but that keeps me engaged and I enjoy it. So I don't mind, I think some of it's just kind of mental in terms of, like, on the 10th of October, we're getting a ton of stuff all at once. And then we're going to have some times where there's not any new content. Well,
the 10th of October is going to be hell, like you said.
But I mean, really, that's just us imposing that on ourselves, because we have a podcast, and so we want to get information out to people, and we want to be informed, so we want to do it. But so we'll probably try to find a way to do all of that content, or at least each of us do some of that content before the show. But if you're not content creating, if you're not doing a show, if you're not doing videos, you can spread that out over a couple of weeks. Who cares? You can take your time with things, is what I'm saying. Who cares if it all hits on one day? If you just play 15 minutes a day, you can spread it out over a couple weeks and really not have that big of a time, not big of an issue here. So, but there's this sense of all this content drops all at once. I got to get it done, and then now there's no content for a week, and I'm complaining about there's nothing to do. But yeah,
I said, for me, I don't care about the content dropping. It's the overlapping co-ops.
Mm-hmm.
Because before, I felt the co-op pace was great, right?
I felt the co-op pace was slightly too slow maybe 2.5 months ago, when there were periods where it was like one co-op would run and then another co-op would start right at the tail end of that one. There was zero overlap, but it also meant you'd run down the last co-op to nothing, and you were just doing it to run bells or skipping it altogether. And I think now we're swinging to the end where it's like, oh shit, I haven't even finished the last co-op, and now I have to start the new one.
Yeah. So I think in JP's normal pace, co-ops overlap a week, leaving and entering. So it's just always 2 co-ops. So you have about a week to do each. It's just focus on co-op. And I think that's ideal. Right now, it's like, holy shit, some of these co-ops are 3-4 days apart. And it's like, holy crap. It is. And, oh yeah, don't get me started on the most recent Cosmos co-op. That's just,
just
time
to point out, next, or in a week and a half, we're going to get Alphinaud's co-op. And then a couple days later, we're going to get the Trick or Treat co-op. And then we're going to get the Raid co-op associated with the new chapter a few days after that. So we're going to have a lot of co-ops overlapping with each other in that time span.
Yeah, and the raid's going to be hell.
There's going to be the rewards that are space, so we're going to have to keep doing them over the course of several days.
Yeah.
Or wait till the end and do them all at once. So.
I think the real I feel the pace is a little too fast now, but I think it's just poor timing. The pace picked up for the game as soon as I started getting busy with work. So I've been feeling a little overwhelmed trying to keep up with everything, as compared to over the summer or in the spring, where I was like, yeah, I have plenty of time and the pace is slow. Now it's a little bit the opposite direction. But I understand that a lot of people are enjoying the faster pace right now. Well, but I also don't think it's going to last forever.
Right. I don't think it's going to last forever. I don't think we're going to catch up to Japan. I think, as Inkwelder has said before, and we're going to have him on in a couple weeks again, as Ink has said, I think this is strategic. And I think once we get to the holiday here in the United States, that wonderful time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, that shopping era, that month of just, fervent consumerism. I think that's going to be when you're having a lot of must-pull, at least what we think as must-pull banners and everything kind of strategically placed in that high time in terms of shopping or holiday, getting iTunes, Google Play gift card kind of stuff. So I think Square is thinking ahead about how best to market some of the most anticipated content, of course, early chaos.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of people are theorizing that the increased pace we've had for the last 2 months or month now and going to be 2 months after this month runs through, is to get us to chaos faster, number one, and number two, possibly to make space for a Beatrix event rerun somewhere along the lines.
Yeah, well, that brings us to my next question, which is there has been some conversation about Beatrix. So what do you think is going to happen with Beatrix? Of course, we got a global first Beatrix. Now in Japan, Beatrix came out on her event with her EX Plus, and would be a reworked version, level 70 version of Beatrix compared to what we got. So Japan still does not have Beatrix's Lost Chapter, so they just got Beatrix's event. So are we going to get a Lost Chapter for Beatrix? Are we not? Are we going to get something else? What do you think is going to happen with Beatrix?
I really, really think people are being super wishful for that we're going to get a Beatrix LC early. I don't see it happening. It's like the cursed artifacts. People really, really think for some reason GL is going to get special treatment. I'll be surprised if it happens. It's not out of the question. But I think the safest answer to say is not coming, because with the cursed artifacts logic, they want to make it easier to balance with the JP timeline. Same thing with Beatrix. Are we getting a powerful character early that might skew balance of the game and chaos completely? Or are they just going to wait a handful of months for her to release naturally and not make any waves? That seems much more likely, so they don't have to keep screwing up the timeline between GL and JP. And they don't have to keep thinking about how to balance character like a year apart. Like I think it's extremely wishful thinking that we're going to get Beatrix early. I think we're just going to wait until she was released in JP again to see her EX Plus and rework. It's a lot of work to get her out early just to follow this imaginary timeline that GL players have that, we have to get the LC when the character released. I mean, hasn't this been debunked? Last year, we had characters voted in a poll come out early, and then none of them fit that early requirement when their LCs came back. It went straight back to JP timeline. Like, there's no rule saying just because they released early, we have to get their LCs early too. I think that's ridiculous.
My opinion on this is that I do not think we're going to get Beatrix Lost Chapter with full 70 rework, awakening, and EX Plus, but I think there will be maybe a Beatrix event rerun sometime in the future to allow people to get Beatrix. Maybe it'll come with her 70 awakening and the rework Japan got. I don't know, but I think there will be I'm actually surprised we haven't seen Beatrix return yet. I think there's going to be a point to allow players that maybe missed the first anniversary to get her without having to wait to the full event. But that's wishful thinking too. It might not happen.
I would not be surprised to see Beatrix on one of our autumn banners if there's banners with those events. But yeah, I really don't think you're going to get. I'm almost certain we're not going to see Beatrix's Lost Chapter before we see a redo of Beatrix's event with her EX Plus and her Lost Chapter when Japan will eventually get it. So we're talking about way down the road. Will they potentially give us a Beatrix a replay of her story event with a level 70? I mean, they'd have to balance that correctly, and at this point they might as well just wait until her event would be in queue, so we would get her EX Plus. So but I wouldn't be surprised to see her on a banner.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like an anniversary banner or something, or even a Christmas banner or something.
Yeah.
But
as I said, I could imagine a special event banner with maybe something like the Locke event rerun, so you can get her free 15 CP and free armors.
Exactly.
Without giving her the full LC and all the everything that Japan got at the time.
So to address chat really quick, first, Eamon said, "Okay, Mino, but it can actually happen. Possibility is there." Agreed, Eamon. Like I did preface saying, like, if it does, I can see it happening. If it does happen, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I'm saying if I were to bet on it, the safe money would be they're just going to wait because it's the easiest course of action and it's far less work and far less balancing and dancing for a little bonus. So I agree with you. There's a chance of it happening. And then Pretstato is representing another point of view I've been seeing often. Maybe the accelerated pace. Well, some people thought it was to squeeze Beatrix in, and now he's saying maybe it's for a second GL exclusive, which is another argument I've seen floating around a lot. And I'm just gonna say, honestly, with the whole cursed artifacts thing, it made me very jaded and cynical. I really don't think they're gonna do another GL exclusive.
Penguins X is saying if you don't release her in any shape or form for the next 2 months, where her LC would be, there's no point in having GL exclusives because we would always have the balance issue with GL exclusives. We didn't have that when Beatrix happened the first time.
Yeah.
Why would we have it now?
We did have balance issues when Beatrix was released the first time. She was really strong.
Yeah, she
much stronger than any other options. She invalidated the event characters coming out for the next month and a half, I think.
Yeah,
right,
she was.
The first thing is, right, Beatrix isn't a global exclusive. She's a global first. We got her before JP. And she was exceptionally powerful for... what did we say?
She made the hell events even easier, like
But how long was her run? 4 or 5 months? I mean, it was ridiculous.
5 or 6. Yeah, 5 or 6 months. She lasted lasted far into garbage time.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous the way that she was able to kind of continue over and over and over again. So, I don't feel like they owe us early Beatrix rework, early Beatrix 70. Or to show the Beatrix again.
Those of us that pulled for Beatrix got plenty of value out of her. I don't think we should be clamoring for more value out of an overpowered character we got early.
Right, yeah. And to address what Penguin said about, the issues of balancing before, and you're right. It didn't seem like GL really cared about balancing in the past, with Saw's 35 coming 6 months early and dominating the meta. And then, time travel, especially Tidus and Prish, who got their 35 over 6 months early when the game launched and were used for pretty much 6 months until they caught up. And then you've got Beatrix releasing, destroying everything. That's why I'm jaded now, because all of a sudden with cursed artifacts, balance in line with JP is the tagline.
Again, it's the difference of current balance versus ultimate balance on where the goal is. If it was, and this is the argument that Josh made when he talked about it in the stream. I don't fully agree with it, but the point was that if we deviated from the cursed artifacts, the balance and the ultimate goal of balance between the two versions of the game would be permanently different, whereas with Beatrix, it's a temporary change in balance of the game, which will right itself in time.
And that's fair. You make a great point. But I just really think, in light of the whole Curse 6 artifact scandal, which again is no one's... I don't know. I mean, we talked about it in length already. I was going to say no one's to blame, but then a lot of people said Square Enix could have communicated this earlier, so whatever. It's done. Move past it. But I will say that I was just very upset that this came back to GL, because God, do I hate this mechanic. I was farming for Yuna this week. I know. Okay, so I was gonna pass on Yuna EX. I saw her in action in the co-op. I was like, wow, it's really cool. I might actually try to pull for this. Then I started trying to farm artifacts for her, and over a week of just running my bells and books and crush, I just could not get good artifacts for her. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I never want to touch this character again. And I'm saying, these 6, I feel like will be like this forever. I feel like even if they get their next tier of weapon, their EX plus, whatever, it's still going to be dependent on their cursed artifacts, cursed passive. I just don't want to freaking deal with this, because there's just so many characters who are good to go right out of the box. You draw their weapon, you play them, they're fine. Artifacts help, but they're pretty much optional. But for these characters, when their ability charges are dependent on it, when Yuna needs 120% max brave boost. Holy crap, do I not want to use her at all unless I have the perfect artifacts? The chances of that are extremely slim. So I'm just upset that this made it back in the game. Like I said, I would have just preferred if they just gave us some, base, or at least threw the artifacts at us, or I don't any alternative. But because of this, I just am cynical about them ever giving us like a big boost to our roster or balance again, like an early Beatrix rework or something.
Global first Riku coming. I'm predicting it.
People in the chat are agreeing with me. Strafe, one of our regulars, saying, Mino, you have a point. I didn't want to pull for Yuna until I had good arts after all the Sarah farming. Didn't get them, don't want Yuna. I think these characters are just doomed forever. I think JP, they're doomed forever in JP almost, and now it carried over to GL. I just think it's a terrible decision. It's even from a business standpoint. If they want to make money and have people spend on these characters, people just don't want to go through the trouble.
I will agree that I do not want to farm these artifacts. I farm them on the side because I'm doing the co-op events anyways, so I got a lot of Sarah artifacts when I was farming for Vayne and Zach. I got a lot of Yuna artifacts when I was farming for Ramza and Terra. But I'm not going out of my way to grind them, and I'm also not going out of my way to pull for their EX weapons. I think I threw a few tickets at Sarah's banner. I didn't throw anything at Yuna's, and I will do the free draw if Air of CX is on the banner, and if I get it, great, but I'm not going to go out of my way hunting for it.
To quote Kreese from a few months ago, let me see if I can find the exact quote. If I can't, let me paraphrase it. But I believe he said, I will not pull on any cursed 6 character out of protest for
and I'm not.
Artifact.
I mean, as I said, a couple of tickets and the free banner pull. I'm not skipping the free banner pull.
Oh, but yeah, honestly, I was actually excited to pull for Lion, and I realized I had to farm her cursed artifacts, and I said, never mind.
Yeah,
luckily hers are not as mandatory as they are for Sarah or Yuna. Yeah. The DPS characters that got the artifacts are not as required for them, but they're still very strong.
Yeah, they're good artifacts, right? So you want to get them, that's for sure. Yeah. Any other? We have several in our podcast questions. If you have a question for the show, you can submit that to podcast questions on our Discord. I will link our Discord again here. I think we're going to have more time probably next week as we have a little bit less content to talk about, although we'll probably end up talking.
No. We're going to have plenty to talk about. I got to defend Gilgamesh to my dying breath next week.
2 hours on that. So
2 hours of defending Gilgamesh against these haters.
I don't have any opinion. I just tend to forget he's even in the game like Lion.
Wait, wow, how dare you? You just insulted a character that Kreese likes and then one that I like. Thanks, Mark.
I know, it's quite crafty of me. Yeah, so is there anything else we need to talk about tonight?
There's a lot of stuff in the podcast questions, but I think most of it we can skip over. Let's do one more thing before we call it a night.
Okay.
And we're going to try to keep this really, really fast. The only reason I bring it up is because it is about the Ramuh summon grind.
Okay.
Red Kane asked, what character would be the best Super Synergy carry for your teams for the Ramuh grind? What do we think? Will it be Setzer even without his EX? Will his rework be sufficient, or will there be other characters in the batch?
So Setzer, to remind you, the characters are in Ramuh are Setzer, Onion Knight, Lena, Aiko, Sid, Maria. They are the special boosted, correct? That's the right language? We always get that confused.
Right. Yeah, but even Joshua on stream was calling them Super Synergy too.
Super Synergy.
Oh, he was calling out. He said that the community's been calling them Super Synergy, and he acknowledged it.
Super Synergy, special.
The official term is special boost. I've been trying to promote that on our podcast, but it's not sticking.
I'll stick with it. I'll stick to GL terms as much as we can. We call the abilities and buffs GL. What was it? Life of the party for Prompto. So all honor the GL translations. I'll keep trying to say special boosted on the podcast. In the Discord, I still say.
Inkwelder is sharing the Tonberry Troops infographic for Ramuh, so that is available to check out. And we have linked the Tonberry Troops Flickr album of all of the infographics. So that's a nice resource. We have that link on our information.
But anyways, getting back to the point at hand, I think most people are saying Setzer will be the best carry out of the batch.
Yeah.
But honestly, looking at this batch of special boosted characters, they're all really solid characters. Some will be better to carry weaklings with than others, but if you have all these characters geared, or if you have one of them geared, they'll probably be your choice. Like Sid is pretty strong, Aiko's still very useful, Marie is still useful in some cases, not in Cosmos but EX fights. Onion Knight's still strong, Lena's still really strong. All these characters are solid.
Oh, chat makes a good point. I'm going to keep promoting special boosted because so people will know what boosted means. Because again, when Cosmos co-op dropped, there was another huge Reddit thread. It seems like they come up every 2 freaking weeks talking about boosted only. This came up again, and there was a huge argument again saying, well, if Square Enix really meant boosted only, they would have restricted it. They're not, so I'll run my unboosted character as much as possible. I hate it. But but I mean, just after last week's episode too, we had someone come in the Discord, a newer player, say, oh, thank you for pointing out what boosted means. I had no idea, so now I know. So, a lot of people think boosted means Warrior of Light MLB or something. So, special boosted, it is. And hold on, someone in chat, they say, oh, right, I almost want to pull Setzer to take my Ramuh board. I think he's just that much of a carry. You'll bring him in Quistis and carry whoever the hell you want. I don't think the other characters can carry as hard.
I'm just going to highlight that so far for Shiva and for Ifrit, I used the featured characters that got their new EX weapons without their EX weapons. And in the case of Sarah, I used her as the carry without even her special artifact passives, and it did fine. I just had their weapon passives without the EX. So you do not necessarily need Setzer's EX if you're just using him to carry other characters through the Ramuh
if we're talking about the level 100 grind, the what you would do for the summon boards, Setzer 3515 is going to be fine. You use Freeze Joker twice, and then you use Red Card to delay Ramuh. I mean, he's going to carry you. Yeah, he will carry you. I think pretty easily, actually, with his rework. So,
as long as you have his 35 CP weapon, you don't even need his 15, just his 35 CP and Awakened.
Yeah.
If he's not at least level 60 Awakened, ideally 61 Awakens for the extra stats from the levels to 70, he's not going to carry as well as you think he will. So make sure you at least get him to Crystal Strength 60, 61. Make sure you level him up and have his 35 CP equipped.
And we are going to talk about Ultimate Ramuh a lot more next week because that launches on the 30th of September. Gilgamesh LC launches on the 3rd of October. We are going to be podcasting October 3rd, Thursday, at 8 p.m. Central, Friday the 4th, 1 a.m. UTC. But the event is, of course, on the 2nd in the United States. So we will have 24 hours to work through Gilgamesh and all of that fun stuff. But we're going to talk a lot more about that next week. So join us next week. If you can join us live on Twitch, it's fun. We love to have the energy from all of you here. Sometimes famous people show up, like Ink Welder and Aerolai and Square Enix Joshua.
You say sometimes they show up. Pretty sure they're here every week.
And I'm just going to remind everyone, next week will be the Kreese Defends Gilgamesh week.
Yes, and come next week because everybody's thinking, well, I'm just going to skip Gilgamesh. Oh, not until you hear Kreese. He's going to tell you why you should pull for Greg.
So I'm going to go out of my way to research his bad to counter Kreese now that I know how much he wants to defend Gilgamesh.
Well, I want to thank all of you who are joining us live on Twitch, all of you who are following up on the show via Twitch or YouTube later, all of you who are listening to us on your podcast, whether you're on your commute to work, whether you're at school, in the bathroom, listening. I don't know where people listen to us, walking your dog, mowing your lawn, whatever you do. Thank you for including us in your week, and thank you for having us be your #1 stop for all things Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. You can check out all of our social media links. We're on Facebook and Twitter. We have our own Discord, all that kind of stuff. www.tccpodcast.com. On Facebook, it's FFTCC Podcast. On Twitter, it's FFTCC Podcast. If you want to get hold of me, I do the social media stuff. You can message me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, or you can just come to Discord and message me there. I am Mark TCC Podcast on Discord. Easy to find if you join our podcast, or our podcast Discord. I'm going to also be sharing in our notes, so if you go on our podcast or YouTube or wherever we have the stream, the Tonberry infographic album, and also Macnell's Call to Arms, what's he call it, where he compiles all the Call to Arms, so you can just see all of the Call to Arms that are currently up and which ones are up, so you don't have to go looking through each of the posts. But if you like to do that, please do and support them. Those are two great resources that we have in our community. Of course, go to the official Reddit at Dissidia FFOO, and you can follow Square's official Twitter at Dissidia FFOO, and that's where Square shares all their stuff on Twitter about this game that we play. So I think that has been episode number 70. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for 70 episodes plus about 60 in our first season with Final Fantasy Record Keeper. But yes, after 131 episodes and after 70 episodes this season, we're still doing it and still having a lot of fun. And thank you all for being here with us. It just makes it a lot more fun. It makes this game a lot more fun. So thank you all. For myself, Mark, for Mino Spellgood, for Kreese, a.k.a. Zarink, this has been episode 70 of the Crystal Chronicles. Until next week, we wish you all the best of luck. Good luck. Goodbye.